Welcome to this week's episode of Vanguard News. I'm Kayla Olson. The UNG Astronomical Observatory unveiled its 2 new murals painted by students. Our reporter Jennifer Ramsey went to check it out.
The new murals are in the hallway of the observatory and in the classroom. Professor Vivian Liddell, who is in charge of the class, had some words at the unveiling.
This project together, and so the president gave us some extra money to buy paints and supplies for the murals, and we started this in a class that was last semester. The class was actually over in December. Unfortunately, the mural was not over in December, and I had several students that stayed on this semester, not getting a grade and continuing to work on the mural. And I want to recognize them in a minute.
The students recognized were Peyton Hawley, Jonah McEver, and Elizabeth Sherman. Each received a small plaque as a reward for their dedication to the mural.
And Elizabeth Sherman.
Attendees of the unveiling also shared their opinions on the murals.
My favorite part of the mural was how they combined sort of the geometry with sort of capturing still the ability to imagine, the 2 kids, it looks like, with the telescope looking into space. Now, the one on the inside I didn't understand until they explained it, that it was like the surface, I think, of Jupiter. So once they said that, then it was really neat to think how then they applied sort of that artistic license to get the different colors and make it sort of a whole different visual effect, even though it's tied to the astronomy.
The observatory is open to the public Fridays and Saturdays from 8 p.m. until midnight. This is Jennifer Ramsey, Vanguard News.
Brian Kemp went to Dahlonega, Georgia last week as a stop on his campaign for re-election as governor. Let's see what he had to say.
We're so excited about what's happening at North Georgia. I got to visit with President Jacobs last week, and just great things happening. Senator Gooch and Will Wade are representing this area so well at the General Assembly and down in Atlanta, and I know, like me, they are glad to be back home in the hills of North Georgia. But I'll also tell you that
That was Governor Brian Kemp last week when he visited Hancock Park in Dahlonega. Kemp, who is running for a second term as Georgia governor, gave an impassioned speech to the onlookers who attended the gathering.
To visit Stacy over the years of my career of running in statewide politics. He's a good man. He's got good people working for him. And we're going to continue to support our men and women in law enforcement. We have something to say.
Kemp, a Republican, is running against Democrat Stacey Abrams and faces a primary challenger, fellow Republican Sonny Perdue. Kemp was endorsed by state representatives Steve Gooch and Will Wade.
I was back home for 3, served in the executive branch of the Secretary of State's office, and now honored to be serving as your governor. And this is by far the best legislative session I've ever been involved in.
Much of Kemp's re-election tour has focused on putting Georgians first, which he intends to do by defending election integrity, protecting the livelihood of small businesses, and spurring economic growth.
In a lot of different ways, but we're simply making sure in Georgia that we have fairness when it comes to girls' sports. That's all we're doing. We have been strengthening rural Georgia, supporting our #1 industry, agriculture. So thank you guys for having us. God bless you. We appreciate y'all's support.
The Georgia governor election will be held on November 8th, 2022. This is Jennifer Ramsey, Vanguard News.
Dawson County has been growing for the past few years. Many people want to get out of higher populated areas and move to lower populated areas. The school system has grown just as much as the county. Our reporter Elizabeth Poison has more.
Superintendent Damian Gibbs said over the last decade, the county public school system has gained over 600 students. In 2015, Dawson County High School was just 1 building. Now it has 5 buildings. Superintendent Gibbs said no other district in Georgia has the capacity that we have in Dawson County. He went on to say we can grow almost 1,000 grades in K through 5, 325 in grades 6 through 7, 150 grades 8 through 9, and 810 through 12.
too blessed to be stressed. That's not the case for these people. Let's go to UNG Gainesville, where our reporter Lindsay Howard checked in with some of the students.
The end of the semester is just around the corner, which means that finals are on their way. I caught up with some UNG students to ask about their stress levels, warning signs, and coping mechanisms. Here's what they had to say.
I can tell because I feel like overwhelmed with the stuff, like a lot of assignments or tests that I have sometimes.
I just get overwhelmed. I just feel like I'm not doing enough. I just need to do more and practice more.
When I'm a little stressed, especially when it comes to tests, I usually I cram as much as I can.
I can't breathe. I'll have to go somewhere else and sit down so I don't pass out.
When I get really overwhelmed and I start to I guess ask myself if I could still do it and stuff like that,
Right now it would probably be maybe a 6.
7.
Stress right now it's 8.
With having to pay for school, probably a 9 or a 10 to be honest.
A good 9.
Sometimes I pray, or other times I just write a list. That way I can just go in order.
You take it little by little, step by step, and start with this first thing and do the next. So you can't get everything done at the same time. So you gotta do it step by step.
Yeah, you usually exercise. I hit the gym to go work out.
Reporting in Oakwood for Vanguard News, I'm Lindsay Howard.
Ever wanted to know what it's like to be an entrepreneur? Our reporter Alexis Reed interviewed a couple to give you some insight.
Hey guys, I went out and talked to a couple of entrepreneurs for those who are interested in maybe being a business owner one day. Let's go.
My name is Melissa Levins, and I'm an on-location hair and makeup artist. So I started taking classes and working at a cosmetic counter. And after doing that for almost 10 years, I went out on my own to where I travel to all of my clients and special events and do the hair and makeup at their location. Especially as a single mom, I'm able to be with my kids during the week. I'm able to book my clients around my kids' schedules. On the weekends, they just get to spend time with their friends and their grandma and their aunts while I work. And during the week, I get to be mom most of the time, so it's worked out very well.
Do you need to interview Zach or anything? I'm Tori Andrews, and I own Andrews Adjusting, which is an independent adjusting firm that specializes in insurance adjustments after natural disasters. So my dad was an entrepreneur, and I very quickly realized that being an entrepreneur, my income was scalable, as was my freedom. In the United States, we only get 2 weeks off a year as an employee, which kind of sucks. So I liked the fact that my income was in my control, and my time was also in my control and my goals. I've got 2 rescue pups. I like hanging out with them. My family, I like hanging out with them. We live on the lake, so when it warms up, we'll go jet skiing. I like to kill plants and try to take care of succulents and nerdy stuff like puzzles and cooking and that kind of thing. Oh yeah, she's getting all them succulents.
Alexis Reed with Vanguard News.
Do you want to get in shape but don't know where to start? Elizabeth Poison has you covered.
Since the beginning of time, people have wanted to keep themselves in shape and healthy. Over the years, people have tried crazy things to keep themselves thin. Today, we hope we have better ideas. However, some people don't know where to start when they want to get in shape. I talked to Kim Wilcox, a trainer at One Life Fitness, and asked where a beginner should start when trying to get in shape.
think it's important from the first to find out what their injuries are for me, so I know where to direct them. Do an assessment, so they'll do some movement assessments to see where they are, and then based on their injuries, I can program workouts around that.
For the past few decades, people have been led to believe that if everyone does the same workout, they would lose weight. The one-size-fits-all approach does not work. That's why it can be easy for some people to lose weight, and for others it may be harder. According to Wilcox, it depends on what someone's goals are and what they want to accomplish. It also depends on how someone is built.
If they're trying to lean up, it's got to get moving. I don't care how big you are, what kind of muscle you have. You got to get moving. You got to take in the right fuel and get enough rest. If they're a thin guy, they might not be able to get as big as they want to get because it's not genetically built that way.
Many people think they have to stick to a certain diet when they want to work out or to have a healthy lifestyle. There are so many workout diets that people do, such as keto, Weight Watchers, and Nutrisystem. These types of diets work for many people and do help when you want to work out. Wilcox said that diet does help when you're working out. However, he emphasized again how it depends on what someone's goals are.
If they want to lose body fat, they're going to have to watch their calories and what the calories are consisted of. If they just want to be moving and getting in better shape, then not so much, but they still should never eat junk food.
There's so much advice people get about getting in shape. There's all different kinds of ways to get in shape and to be healthy. I asked him what is the best advice he would give to someone who's thinking about working out, and here's what he had to say.
Don't be afraid to get started. Just get in here, get moving, because nobody's watching you like you think. Just have a good trainer to get you along in the journey, and you will be successful.
Elizabeth Poisson, Vanguard News.
Let's head to downtown Atlanta to go shopping with our reporter Kennedy Lee.
In the heart of the busy city, you can find one of the largest clothing wholesale markets. Vendors, individual sellers, and businesses come from all over the country to sell their items to small business owners and other companies. With over 14 floors and over hundreds of booths of clothes, shoes, and accessories, America's Mart has a little something for everyone. The only way to gain access to the inside of the building is you have to already have a business that is licensed or be a guest of the business owner. On floors 1 through 5, individuals and sellers set up their own areas with racks of their items and lots of creative decorations. On floors 6 through 14, you could find a lot of jewelry and dresses for things like weddings and big events. Also on these floors are some businesses who are permanently there all year round, so if you love these items enough, you can visit and purchase them at any time. Some businesses were offering cash and carry items, which means you can buy the one item off the floor and take it home with you that day. The most popular way, however, was buying in bulk. For example, say you wanted to buy a t-shirt from a business. You would have to buy a minimum of their choosing, and then you pick what items you wanted, which usually came in bundles of 6. Some businesses were offering cheaper minimums of $100, and some were as high as $800. Then if you did buy something, you gave them your shipping address, and you would get the items 1 to 3 months later. If you were lucky, some booths were handing out free things like snacks, alcoholic beverages, and even tote bags. The Mart even has people selling children's clothing and shoes, and also bathing suits, scarves, room accessories, and hair accessories. As a perk of visiting the Mart, you can also get free parking, and you can get on businesses' list for future business ventures, their lookbooks, and catalogs. If you or someone you know has a clothing business, you need to check out America's Mart for all your on-trend fashion and accessories. This is Kennedy Lee in downtown Atlanta, Vanguard News.
Poplar Springs Baptist Church held their Easter celebration, and here are the fun events they had planned. Poplar Springs Baptist Church held their Easter celebration this weekend by providing Easter breakfast to all of the church members and new guests, and also giving an amazing service that preaches about Easter and what Easter really means to the community of Poplar Springs.
Praise the Spirit, Christ makes Jesus the guarantor, or the guarantee even, of a better covenant, a better promise. Verse 23, the former priests were many in number because they were prevented by death from continuing in office, but he holds his priesthood permanently because he continues forever. Verse 25 is going to be our main verse.
And some people give some insight as to what Easter means to them and what they get from this holiday.
So I've been a member here for about 4 years. I grew up in this church when I was a little girl, but I just recently came back about 4 years ago. And to me, Easter just means that I know where I'm going when I die. I will always have salvation. Jesus is my best friend, and he has saved me from all my sins, and I am redeemed because of him.
Beautiful. Do you have one? Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Here like for 20 years in the Poplar Baptist Church, and Easter means a lot to me, you know, and in the world the Lord died for us, and he resurrection, and he paid with his life for our sins, and it's happy and it's great, you know. The Easter, a lot of people come into our church, you know, like today. We have a great service, a great pastor in our church, and we just praise the Lord for that, and praise the Lord for this day.
Kayla Olson, Vanguard News. Baseball is back, and our reporter Shelby Pahokee is at Truist Park to check out the game.
Hey baseball fans, I'm Shelby Pahokee for the Vanguard News, and I'm here outside of Truist Park here for the Braves opening weekend and to see the 2022 World Series pennant be unveiled. Here we can see the World Series 2022 flag being raised above the park.
Playing third, number 27.
Make sure you get the flag.
Throughout opening weekend, the Braves will be giving away special prizes and replica World Series rings. For fans who do not make it to the opening weekend, the Braves will continue to give out prizes to fans and celebrate their World Series win. Their next home game series will start on April 22nd against the Miami Marlins. I'm Shelby Pahokee, Vanguard News.
In the past couple of weeks, two Atlanta sports legends, Freddie Freeman and Matt Ryan, have now left the teams they have spent their entire career with. Our reporter, Owen Jones, asked the fans to see what they think about the current situation.
In Freddie's situation, I think it's kind of like a, it's like whatever, honestly. I mean, Atlanta definitely got the better side of the bargain, I feel like, with Matt Olson, 7 years, paying less for him. And, I mean, Freddie's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of fake a little bit. It's more of his agent, obviously, than him, but
I'd say as far as Matt Ryan goes, it's a little different situation because he wasn't exactly like leaving his team like when he got the chance, but it's more of they're trying to give him the last good few years like of his career because he's given the Falcons his all, and it hasn't been the results that everybody expected.
I'm okay with it.
we'll always love them. They're going to continue to have great futures, but so will the teams. So I'm okay with it.
Freddie? No, he won a World Series. Definitely didn't leave on a bad term. Matt Ryan? I don't think so. I think most Falcons fans know that the Falcons aren't exactly a great team right now. So I think they can kind of see it. But I would say Freddie, definitely not. I mean, he won a World Series. And the only reason I would say maybe yes for Freddie is because he's going to the Dodgers.
I think it's more likely that Freddie left on bad terms than Matt.
I'd say definitely not, because, I mean, like the whole time we've been growing up the past 10, 12 years, I mean, they've been at the center of those organizations. So, I mean, I'd say probably not. I mean, definitely not Matt Ryan. I mean, maybe Freddie, just because it's a lot of he said, she said stuff afterward. But, I mean, you can't hate on people for doing the best thing for their career.
I don't think so. Their contributions are not going to be diminished, and people's memory about things like this is short, but what they contributed is forever.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were on those teams for so long. They were the face of their franchises for so long. So I would say most fans are probably going to continue to root for those players. Maybe Freddie a little bit less, again, because he's on the Dodgers. But yeah, I think I would say Atlanta fans want the success for both of those people, for the most part.
I sure hope so. I will. They should.
Want a sweet treat? Try this summer-inspired recipe, s'mores mini pies. Have you been missing live music? Well, our reporter Laura Huell found just the place for you to go in Cleveland.
Jumpin' Goat Coffee, Roosters, and Tasting Room is a local establishment that started out in one location on the Helen Highway and has grown into 2 locations. The location in Cleveland features amazing views of Mount Yonah and their own dog park for patrons. They also host live music events every weekend. This past weekend featured the Orange Walls Duo. The band is a duo that featured harmonic-driven rock, country, and blues music. Jumpin' Goat was packed during their 2 to 5 p.m. show. Jumpin' Goat brews all their own coffee and teas and boast offering the highest quality beans and flavored coffees found anywhere in the world. At this location, they also offer a selection of wines, meads, salt scrubs, candles, and honey. They also sell various types of food. If you're looking for a sweet treat with breathtaking views and live music, Jumpin' Goat is the place for you.
The Everett Music Band held its spring fundraiser this past weekend, full of bluegrass, food, and family fun. Let's head to Swansea.
We have 2 fundraisers a year. The barn operates strictly on donations. It has from the very beginning. And for the spring fundraiser, we always do what we call an old-fashioned covered dish dinner, where everybody brings a dish and we all eat a meal together at 5 o'clock. And then we have another one in the fall, and typically with the one in the fall, we do barbecue and hamburgers and things like that. But it's the same set. We do 8 to 10 bands, and we have door prizes, so that really helps us out tremendously. Before the barn ever existed, there was a really tremendous tragedy that rocked our family.
The Everett Music Barn came to be after a tragic event occurred over 50 years ago when Jerry Everett passed away with 2 other officers in the line of duty. All 3 Gwinnett County police officers were murdered while responding to a stolen car ring situation. To help the family mourn the loss of Jerry, the 2 brothers, Randall and Roger, began to play bluegrass. What started as a small group of musicians in the house grew to what has become a historic site of bluegrass fellowship in Swansea, Georgia, the Everett Music Barn.
The biggest thing that I get out of the barn is supporting the heritage of what it means to so many people. We've got 8,000 people in walking distance of this property, and we don't charge any admission. We just have a donation bucket week to week, and we survived 58 years doing things that way. And that's what I get out of it. I don't perform or play any instrument, but the fellowship is what I love the most.
Now, let's take a trip to Amicalola Falls to check out one of Georgia's most popular hikes.
Amicalola Falls is one of Georgia's most popular state parks in Georgia's Chattahoochee National Forest. The hike makes a 1-mile journey to the top of the enormous waterfalls, where you can see amazing views of the expanse of the surrounding Blue Ridge Mountains. The hike up is strenuous, walking a total of 425 steps uphill, so prepare to sweat. The hike begins at Amicalola Falls State Park Visitor Center and passes under a stone arch, a marker for the beginning of the Appalachian Trail Approach Trail, and reaches a parking area. At this point, you'll have climbed 725 feet from the trailhead. This ascent up is just as beautiful as the waterfall, with views of the surrounding mountains, uninterrupted waterfall views, rocky terrain, and the pines all around. Next time you're looking to hike, try Amicalola Falls 25 minutes outside of Dahlonega.
Duluth has a hidden wild woodland in the middle of concrete. Now to our reporter Lindsay Howard for more.
Warm weather is just around the corner, and if you or someone you know is looking for a beautiful place to spend it, I know just the spot. Pinckneyville Park is a hidden gem in the heart of Duluth. A Gwinnett County park, Pinckneyville is full of paved nature walking trails, lush forestry, and beautiful views. The mile-long loop trail goes around the park and is perfect for walking the dogs, going for a run, or taking the kids on an afternoon stroll. The park also has grill stations and picnic tables scattered along the trail open for public use. Just be sure to clean up after yourself. Along the path are wooden bench swings overlooking the trail and the small pond on the north side. These swings are perfect to take a short break. The trail continues around a small pond that is full of tree frogs, cicadas, and lots of other noisy creatures. The vegetation in the area is protected and managed by Gwinnett County Parks, so you truly feel like you're deep in the woods. The trail isn't all the park has to offer, though. Pinckneyville is complete with multiple playgrounds, a pavilion with enough space for a family reunion, and a plethora of soccer fields. The pavilion can be rented out for private use by calling the park, but all other use is strictly a first-come, first-served basis. The soccer fields are open to recreational leagues as well as individual use. Each field is complete with 2 soccer goals and a net behind them to catch any soccer balls. Getting out for a quick game of one-on-one could be a great way to exercise this summer. Or, if exercise isn't your thing, go out and support your local soccer league. Hidden in the back of the property is a recreation center packed with events for children and adults alike. Anything from karate classes to an open pottery studio, Pinckneyville has it all. Head on over to their website at gwinnettcounty.com/parks and recreation to check out a full list of their events, as well as a community center rental prices. Also be sure to stay on the lookout for upcoming events happening in the county. Events like Art on the Chattahoochee and Gwinnett County Summer Camp are just around the corner. Reporting in Duluth for Vanguard News, I'm Lindsay Howard.
If you are planning a trip to Florida, consider visiting Jacksonville, where I'll show you the best places to visit. If you are ever in Jacksonville for the summer and want some new and fun activities to do besides the beach, you can check out the Cummer Museum of Gardens. And if you're a student or any first responder, it's free, so you can check out some really cool adventures while you're there. Also visit a local restaurant called Sliders Oyster Bar, where they check oysters right in front of you, and if you're lucky, they might give you a sample. And if you're out late at night, you can also visit Keg and Coin, which is an arcade bar in Jacksonville, Florida. You can also charter a boat, and for 4 to 5 people, it's roughly going to be $500 to $700. So you can split that equally, but it's really exciting because you can catch fishes that you've never caught before.
Hopefully this is some nice species.
Alright, yeah, I'm going to move up a little bit so we can get out.
Nice. Keep reeling. The bluegill and the sheep's head.
Put your finger in his mouth.
Here, let's see if we can stick that right into the again. There you go. Dig it right in there. There you go.
That's the spot.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna get a picture too.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hopefully these new adventures will make your trip in Jacksonville a little bit more exciting and you get to know the community a little bit better. Kayla Olson, Vanguard News. If you're an art lover and looking for new events, visit the Swansea Art Center.
I'm here in the beautiful town of Swansea, where you will find many things to do. For you art lovers, you won't miss this quality art spot. Let's take a look. The Swansea Art Center is located in the northern part of the town, surrounded by one of their many beautiful parks. The center is a home and hub to many artists from around the city, from photographers or watercolorists to handbag or jewelry designers.
It was a rough space, and after a while the city approached us and asked us if we wanted to combine our forces and house the Swansea Welcome Center and also be the local art center for our community here in Swansea.
Volunteer Karen Burnett did not want to be interviewed on camera, but spoke with me on how she likes working and being at the center and said, "We've been fortunate to have Aggie as our director who's worked really hard on the center. She communicates well with the community and artists. I'm really proud to be a part of it." The center will be holding many events this year, such as Glow in the Park, the Swansea Arts Festival, and the Classic Car Show. You won't want to miss these. This is Amber Harden with Vanguard News.
Reporter Leah Davenport is in Atlanta to see what's going on this month.
Good afternoon, Gainesville. I'm Leah Davenport reporting live at the Picasso Immersive Exhibit in Atlanta, Georgia. The Imagine Picasso Immersive Exhibit is a modern art show with giant projectors that display Pablo Picasso's paintings all over the walls and huge shapes on the floor to help you feel as if you're on the inside of one of his paintings. The show displays over 200 Picasso works in thoughtful pairings, all the way from his surrealism through his blue and pink-faced cubism. The first part of the exhibit holds large educational panels that you can read to be prepared to spot the differences between the periods of his work and to learn how he impacted surrealism movements in the art world. The exhibit was designed for all audiences regardless of age. This exhibit in particular has been adapted for even 3-year-olds. There is no need for any prior knowledge of Pablo Picasso's life or even his art to attend this exhibit. You are able to learn all about him and his thought process of art in the beginning of the exhibit. Imagine Picasso is part of the Imagine exhibitions that will be traveling all over the United States this year. They will be in Atlanta, Georgia until the end of April, so book your tickets fast. They are located at Pullman Yards on Rogers Street. While you're there, don't forget to grab a cool souvenir from the gift shop. There is a wide variety of Picasso merchandise for sale, ranging from pens, posters, prints, t-shirts, and hoodies, to remember your time at the immersive exhibit. I'm Leah Davenport with Vanguard News.
Skylar Cochran sat down with a couple of UNG film students to hear the latest on their new short film, Homefront, a story following two sisters, Kinley and Hannah, as they must learn to live in a war-filled world where the air is toxic and the infected are closer to home than they believe.
So joining me today are director Katie Brownsworth and producer Kendra Vasquez, who have produced an amazing film, Homefront. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
It's been a semester.
It has been a semester, yes. So Katie, can you talk a little bit about how you created this story and what it entails exactly?
Yeah. So this story, I actually baseline came up with it almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and it was written for my writing for media class. But
me and Katie were actually in the same class when she wrote the script, and we kind of helped each other in a way. And I just remember thinking to myself, wow, this is a really good script, and I was hoping that one day I would get to help her on it or work on it with her.
How would you describe, character development wise, these two sisters and the dynamic that they have?
Oh, that's a good big question there.
Yeah, it is.
So we have that older sister, younger sister relationship that we're building on, and kind of seeing the different responses to, I guess, trauma in a way. I think what we changed the script to has become a lot more of almost a meaningful moment. And while the ending has changed from what it was originally written as, I think it still has a great impact to our characters. Kinley, our older sister, has a much harder exterior, and she's much more practically viewed about the world because she has to be. she is very much into protecting her family and her sister, because she's all that they've got left. They've all that they've got left together, and if they're not going to protect each other from the outside problems of the world, then they don't really have a whole lot left. But with Hannah, she is still obviously dealing with those same things of like wanting to protect, but she's also younger and more naive and wanting to be able to hope the best for everybody that comes along in their life. So it's kind of seeing those responses and how they might change throughout the story.
Go outside only when necessary. Do not go without a respirator filtering all air intake. The United West's newest biochemical weapon appears to affect the psychology of people. The affected have alarmingly increased levels of aggression and suspicion, even towards close friends and family.
You know he's not going to respond.
He said he was coming back. Not for us.
Neuroimaging and further tests point to changes in brain structure and neurological connections, resulting in a regression to primal instincts.
I'm Kayla Olson. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.